Yo, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video on the channel. In today's video, I want to go ahead and run through the technicals on the indices on the Dow, the Nasdaq, the S&P 500, and show you why I believe the market has bottomed. Now, my idea behind why I believe the market has bottomed is based off technical analysis, and we know anyone that has been around the market knows that technical analysis can be invalidated by headlines, by fundamentals, by corporate earnings that are coming out, by more news that may come out from Washington. So we know that that is a risk. But without trying to tell the future and trying to figure out what's going to happen in the future, all that we have is technical analysis and looking at what the charts are presenting us. And right now, that is something that I'm going to trust in. And that is why I believe the market has bottomed. I'll show you guys the technicals that I am looking at for why I believe that we have bottomed. So after we do that, I'm going to go ahead and run through a few stocks that I really like into next week that I think have upside if this market continues. After watching today's video, guys, if you enjoyed it, make sure to press that like button, subscribe to the channel, and press the bell notification so you know every single time that I post. All right, guys, so it's about 3:40 p.m. Eastern time on Sunday. Today, it is October 17th. The Giants are basically unwatchable, so I just stopped watching the game, and I figured I'll go ahead and make this video. The reason I say the time is because at 6 p.m. Eastern, we will have the futures, which will open up, which will give us another idea of how this market will look into tomorrow. So make sure to keep that in mind. But on your screen, we're going to start with the S&P 500. Now, the reason I want to start with the S&P 500 is because I believe this looks the most bullish for a push back to the upside. Now, why do I say that? Let's go ahead and run through the technical analysis. So we're going to start actually on the weekly chart. I want to first show you the weekly chart, and I want to show you this weekly chart hold at the 20 SMA here. I think this is extremely bullish. So on the run since the virus, you guys can see almost every pullback to the 20 SMA on the weekly chart has been met by some type of support and ultimately pushed higher. What you guys will see here is over 3 weeks, over the last 3 to 4 weeks, we have got some very bullish wicks to the upside, showing that there are buyers below, and we have definitely started to hold that 20 SMA on the weekly chart. And you can see we are starting to break above. Now, if we get a little bit more detail, we'll go to the daily chart and we will see that break above even better. Now, not only do we have the break of this downtrend on the daily chart, we have an absolutely beautiful inverse head and shoulders on the daily chart. I've talked about this many times on our pre-market live streams, expecting that upside because of this inverse head and shoulders. If you guys are not familiar with an inverse head and shoulders, it is a bullish reversal pattern. If you guys know a head and shoulders, that's usually bearish, usually showing that there could be a neckline. If we fall below it, you move lower, more to the downside. Inverse head and shoulders is the exact same thing. Just flip your charts. There's your inverse head and shoulders, and that is a bullish reversal formation here on the market. So you can see the left shoulder, the head, the right shoulder, and you can see now we are pushing back higher over this downtrend. And the one thing that I really liked here, which I was expecting to see a little bit of resistance on Friday, was resistance at the 50 SMA. That is the yellow line here on your screen. I thought, okay, we pushed up, we broke the downtrend. We're probably going to find some resistance here at the 50 SMA. However, the S&P proved to hold that as support on Friday, and we got a very nice green daily candle here. So I really like this. I have to be bullish here. Inverse head and shoulders, downtrend break, hold of the 50 SMA. Of course, I don't think the market's just going to go straight up over the next week to all-time highs. Of course, there could be some pullbacks along the way, which would actually be quite healthy if we saw some pullbacks along the way. But this is definitely a bullish sign. I like this sign. I like the break of the downtrend. If this market did not want to go higher, we would have rejected this downtrend just like we did multiple times in the past. And we would have saw something like this, right? We would have saw lower high or lower lows, lower highs, and we would have continued down on this downtrend. However, we are starting to see that downtrend break, and I think that is a sign that the market is trying to find a bottom here. We'll see what happens. The technicals, like I said earlier, can be invalidated, but as of right now, you have to look at this and think this is bullish, and you have to think that, okay, maybe over the next coming weeks, next coming months, maybe we start to get that push to the upside. The one thing that stands in our way is corporate earnings. So coming up, we have some very big companies reporting earnings that could definitely affect where this S&P 500 goes. But as of right now, not trying to predict the future, not trying to predict how corporate earnings are, just looking at this chart as we stand in the present, it is a very bullish chart in my opinion. So the one resistance after where we are right now is these highs right here around 44.75, right around 448 on the S&P or on the SPY ETF. So if you guys use the SPY ETF, right around that 448, I would expect maybe a little bit of resistance there. But that's the ES. Let's go ahead and now jump into the NASDAQ, which doesn't look as bullish to me as the ES, but definitely has a nice little hold here at the 100 SMA. So you guys can see some higher lows have been forming right here. A little bit of a higher low has been forming, which is somewhat starting a little bit of an upward trending channel. So we have that higher low, we have that higher high. Now, if you go to the downtrend here on the NASDAQ, we are slightly above it here. However, I don't trust this that much. And that is why I'm going to show you why I'm a little bit hesitant to say you guys should be going, really heavy into the long side here. One is that we definitely had a very big move over the last 3 days. We definitely did break above the downtrend, but one thing, like I said on the ES, we have not quite gotten above that 50 SMA here on the daily chart. That 50 SMA right around 15,150 on the NQ could act as some resistance here into next week. If we see a little bit of a pullback off this 50 SMA, I would not, I wouldn't, be, worried about us going back to the lows. I think that would be actually quite a healthy pullback, bring us back down to the uptrend, get us another bounce off of it. This is another great buying opportunity, right? So 50 SMA next week, guys, on the NASDAQ is what I'll be looking at. I definitely like the higher lows that are forming, higher highs that are forming, and the beginning of a downtrend breakout here, right here on the daily chart on the NQ. So that's the NQ. You guys can see the breakout is not as big as that ES breakout. Definitely not quite there. A little bit slower to recover here on the NASDAQ, on the tech stocks. We'll see how corporate earnings goes. But very nice uptrend hold here so far on the NASDAQ. I like the 100 SMA. Let's quickly look at the weekly chart. And you guys can see here just another 20 SMA hold on the weekly, just like the ES. 20 SMA, 20 SMA, 20 SMA. And here you go again, guys, another 20 SMA hold on the weekly chart. So that's the NASDAQ. And finally, let's go ahead and jump into the Dow. So looking at the weekly chart on the Dow, you guys can see that this thing never really pulled back that much. There was never much concern here on the Dow. It was very resilient, the Dow Jones. We saw most of that fall in those, heavy growth stocks, tech stocks. The Dow held up wonderfully. This is the weekly chart. You can see a very nice hold here at 33,500, starting to push higher. Very bullish wicks to the downside. If we go into the daily chart, you guys will see we went ahead and bounced. Let me go ahead and zoom in for you here. We went ahead and bounced beautifully off this 33.5, starting to move higher. A little bit of an inverse head and shoulders as well. Left shoulder, head, right shoulder, inverse head and shoulders, bullish reversal pattern. You guys can see very big breakout of 35,000 last week. And I think the Dow is certainly going to be the first one to get back to all-time highs here. So we're only about 300 points off all-time highs. So the Dow is pretty much at all-time highs. 300 points is just about a day, a bullish day on the Dow. So very strong Dow. Definitely look out for some of those Dow stocks this coming week, guys. It looks like that is where the strength is right now. Let's go ahead and now that we've looked at the indices, go into a few stocks, including some Dow stocks that I really like into next week. All right, guys, so the first and probably most bullish chart that I see out there, now it might not be the most bullish, but it's definitely the cleanest setup that hasn't already pushed too high, that may be getting out of reach, is Goldman Sachs. And Goldman Sachs had great earnings. It has that Dow strength. So the Dow has been strong, the banks have been strong, the XLF has hit all-time highs. And I think Goldman Sachs here breaking out of this bull flag. You guys know we have seen some crazy bull flags on Upstart. That's one of our beautiful bull flags we saw. We saw an SE bull flag breakout here, and now we are going to be looking at a Goldman Sachs bull flag breakout here. So on Friday, we got the earnings pre-market. We got a very nice push in the pre-market, and that move continued through the end of day. You guys can see very nice flag breakout. above the 50 SMA. And I definitely like the possibility of banks continuing into next week. I love this potential setup. I'm currently in this play, Goldman Sachs. If you guys follow me on Instagram, you know the play I'm in. If you want, make sure to follow my Instagram down below. Or if you're in the Discord, you're probably in this play with me. It's very nice. It's up 40% right now with about about a month of time on it. So I'm liking this play. Bull flag breakout, bank continuation, Dow strength. I'm definitely watching Goldman Sachs into next week. I'm looking at this 410 level as potential resistance. So if I go down to the 4-hour chart, I'm going to show you that 410 level where I think maybe we start to see some resistance come in right at these previous highs here, right around 410. So I'm watching that 410, that may be where we start to stall, but overall, a very nice bottom off this previous break and retest. If I go back to the daily chart, a little bit of a break and retest of this level, this 373. You guys can see, very nice hold, 1, 2, bull flag, breakout, love it. That's Goldman Sachs. Keep an eye on this one next week. Now, next is Apple. The reason I bring up Apple is just a staple for the NASDAQ, right? If the NASDAQ is going to be strong, Apple is definitely going to be strong as well. And Apple is also one that has been sold off from its highs and has not quite gotten back. If I take Microsoft, for example, which is an incredibly strong stock, Microsoft is basically back at its all-time highs already. Nice dip, beautiful opportunity, off the 100 SMA, off 281 support, and look at Microsoft, virtually back at all-time highs already, about $1 off. If we go back and we look at Apple, we still have some upside opportunity here. We have a 100 SMA hold right here, 200 SMA hold, and I'm looking to see if Apple can continue off that 100 SMA and continue if the NASDAQ finds strength next week. So the first level I'd be watching is right around here at this 147. You have these previous highs here from back on the 24th of September, and you also have the 50 SMA, which may act as some resistance. So if Apple can curl back higher off this 100 SMA, if the NASDAQ is strong, I would expect Apple to come back towards this 147. If we get above the 147, I think you are definitely looking at a very nice move here on Apple. There's upside opportunity, just about 7% off its highs still. If the NASDAQ does push, Apple should be one that follows. We all know that Apple is a great stock, and any type of dip opportunity like this could definitely present some very nice opportunities. So Apple, Goldman Sachs. The third one I have for you is NVDA. NVIDIA, not quite back at its highs either. Still about, we'll say, just about 5% off its highs still. Very nice bounce off the 100 SMA. You guys can see, met that 100 SMA. Also met this very nice uptrend right here on the recent pullback. Started to push higher. And we are also in this play as well. You guys already know this. Talked about this in multiple videos as well as on my Instagram. So when we took this, we were looking at this 4-hour, actually, you know what? It was on the hourly chart. We were looking at this hourly flag breakout right here. You guys can see a little bit of a flag here on the hourly chart. Very nice support, previous support here at 205. We started to get that flag breakout, and NVIDIA on Friday closed extremely strong. So I definitely am watching NVIDIA next week. You guys can see very nice continuation off the 100 SMA, uptrend. NASDAQ continues. I would expect NVIDIA to be another one that starts pushing towards its highs. Very nice opportunity here. Next, and finally, I'm going to cover Square. And you guys, trust me, there are tons of opportunities right now. I can't go over all of them in this video. There's stocks like CRM pushing higher, PayPal, which looks very similar to Square. There's stocks like Twilio, which are bouncing off very nice levels. So keep an eye on these. All of these tech stocks coming off some really nice dips. If this market continues higher, can be very nice trading opportunities. So let's go ahead and look at Square. Square is one that is definitely a little bit more volatile, but I definitely like this little uptrend that it has been holding. So since November of last year, Square has been on this uptrend. 1, 2, and 3. On the recent pullback, we have bounced off of that level. We are starting to push higher. You can see ever since, every time we bounce off this trend line, you get a very nice push higher. So can Square be looking to eventually push higher here, push back into this 280 resistance? That is what I am going to be looking on Square. Very nice long-term ascending triangle here. if we go out to the weekly chart, we can see this uptrend holds true. Very nice weekly chart, 1, 2, 3, 50 SMA hold. I'm looking to see if Square can once again push into this 280 over the next coming months, maybe into end of year. So nice opportunity here on Square, guys. Like I said, tons of opportunities out here. If the market does recover, keep an eye on some of these sold off tech stocks. They will definitely be nice plays with support to the downside where you can trust the technicals and take calculated plays into the next few weeks. All right, guys, so definitely quite a bullish video, and of course things can change into the coming weeks, but right now I really do believe that the opportunities back to the upside, also some very nice support levels on very high quality names like Apple, like NVDA, like Goldman Sachs. Watch the banks, watch these quality tech stocks. I think this dip is an opportunity that you will look back and say, I wish I went ahead and bought some of these dips because the market is back at all-time highs, and all of that panic that everyone was worrying about while the market was dipping was all noise and just another opportunity to buy more of your shares, dollar cost average in your long term, or even play some options, some longer term options back to the upside. Now, of course, I could be wrong. The technicals is what I'm basing my decision off of. So if I'm wrong, don't come back to this video in 3 to 4 weeks or in a month and say that I was dead wrong, because I'm just trying to share what I'm looking at. I think you guys can agree that some of these technicals are very bullish. And if they go wrong, if some kind of fundamental news comes out, if some economic news comes out that makes us wrong, that's something we're just going to have to live with and we're going to have to adjust to, just like every other single time in the market. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, if you found some value, press the like button, subscribe to the channel for some more videos, and I hope to see you in the next one. Peace.